Hey, it's Adam Lavelle, the wrestling snob from WrestlingDoneRight.com. I'm also known as the Old Man Wrestling Fan, and I created the IWC, the Intelligent Internet Wrestling Community. Who are those? Those are the people that follow me and Pro Wrestling Noah, baby. Wrestling done right. This is another video where I'm going to go back in time a little bit, not super far. We are going back to February. All right, we're going back to Crossover 2024 in Sendai. This was November 4th, 2024. The main event is what we're looking at. It was for the GHC Heavyweight Championship. Our champion at the time, Kenoh, defends against El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Interesting matchup for sure. Both of these guys are huge, heavy hitters, okay? Big strikers, kicks, punches, chops, open hand slaps. Now, I don't mean your little girly slaps. I mean slaps that'll knock you the hell out. Now, you throw in Wagner Jr.'s lucha ability, and you've got a little bit of a twist to it. Now, I like Wagner because while he is a luchador, he isn't all about, craziness, fast, forward, high speed, ridiculous stuff. He's a big guy, so that would probably limit him even if he wanted to do that. But he does do it some, and he pulls it out of nowhere, if you will. He'll pull it out when need be. This had a great opening. Both guys stared each other down, stalked each other, took their time. Dr. Wagner struck first with a big chop, big punch, big forearms to Kenoh, and Kenoh is down. And then they sort of taunt each other by doing each other's poses. Dr. Wagner's down doing the fist out pose, and Kenoh responds by crossing his arms and tilting his head, as Dr. Wagner does many times. So we see that they're having fun with each other in a way that also says, I'm going to kick your ass. Quickly spills to the outside. Now, Kenoh is proficient on the outside of the ring, but he's a little smaller than Wagner Jr. Some might even say a lot smaller. I can't recall their weights off the top of my head, but Wagner Jr. is a big man, and Kenoh is in great shape, but he's no bodybuilder or anything. Wagner definitely has size, so I just don't know how smart it is to go outside the ring. But Kenoh held his own out here, getting back in the ring, and he tosses Dr. Wagner back in the ring, and he goes to do a tope suicida or some type of move. It failed. Kenoh jumped up on the apron and kicked him in the head, pulled him back outside, and then began dominating. So that was a smarter move by Kenoh. I'm going to wait till I shock him, surprise him, daze him with a maneuver as he's coming back out to get me, and then I'll take him outside. Threw him across the floor and through the gate. Now, those gates in Noah and in New Japan, other places use them, they're not super sturdy, so it's not like some ridiculous barricade that they're smashing through, but still, he smashed open the gate without lifting the handle by throwing Dr. Wagner through it, draped him over the metal barrier and choked him and gave him a chin lock while he screamed at Dr. Wagner fans, did Noah, just yelling at them, letting them know that he had this under control, and that's all there was to it. This can be a weakness of Kenoh's too. His taunting sometimes can go to ridiculous levels, because here at one point he actually backs up way back the aisleway. Think I'm Suzuki in Stardom, if you will, and runs towards Wagner as he's draped over the metal barrier, but then stops and just screams a curse word in Spanish in his face. I know that because Stu and Mark on commentary said as much. I had no idea what he said. I wouldn't have known it was a swear word, but it was. So he's proficient in cursing in Spanish. Then they continue to fight on the outside of the ring, get back in, and it's Dr. Wagner's turn to take control, because Kenoh sort of took too much time on the outside. And again, when he took that running backward, what looked to be a ridiculous kick or something coming, he stopped and just screamed at him. So I think that allowed Wagner to recover to some degree. And when they got back in the ring, he took over, backed Kenoh into the corner, and then put him in. I believe he said he called it the snake or something like that. The something snake, maybe the Spanish snake. I don't know. But it was a cool looking move. You have to forgive me. My dogs hear stuff and they lose their minds. My wife's not home. So if you hear them on the mic, they're just seeing somebody or something outside our windows. I'm in the basement, not your mother's basement, but my basement of my home, where I have my studio. But no, this snake maneuver, he wrapped Kenoh's legs together, fell to the ground with an armbar, a double wrist armbar. You have to see it. You'll see it in the pictures coming by here. It is just, I thought it was a great move. I mean, I'm not saying I wanted the match to end here, but boy, if this move could be used to end matches, I wouldn't complain about it. Kenoh reaches the ropes, and Dr. Wagner delivers a big drop kick to the back of his head. Kenoh tries an up kick from the ground, but Wagner catches his foot and puts him in an ankle lock. And we know Kenoh's proficient at them, but Wagner looked good here, knocking in that ankle lock. And then he gets in that Muda stretch, if you will. You know how the great Muda was very good and proficient at going behind them and locking their knees under their feet and falling backwards and holding them up in arched position. Again, you'll see it in my pictures coming by here. Really pulled Kenoh, stretched him out in this move quite a bit, and then rolled backwards. I found this interesting. Rolled backwards and laid Kenoh's shoulders on the mat. I thought that was great. It looked good. Went for the 3 count, did not get it. Kenoh's not happy to have been put in this hold. You could tell this like embarrassed him, frustrated him, angered him. He was not happy at all here and really started to take over with a double foot stomp, just a standing double foot stomp onto Wagner, then ran into him with double knees into his back and then proceeded to put Wagner in that same hold, that same Muta stretch, if you will, pulling him backwards, struggling a little bit again because Dr. Wagner is bigger and much heavier, but Kenoh gets him in it and also does the same trick, rolling backward and trying to pin Wagner Jr. Like, he's like, you're going to embarrass me with this shit. I'm going to do it to you too, buddy. And he did it. He did it successfully. He did not get the pin, of course. They end up outside fighting, wrestling, going at each other right in front of the Noah logo. Makes for an awesome image if you see it here in my pictures. And Kenoh, once again, proving what I'm telling you, I believe, being pissed off that Wagner put him in that stretch hold, puts Wagner in it again, outside the ring up with the Noah logo. You're not going to submit up there. It's not a falls count anywhere. You can't pin him up there. Kenoh was clearly just doing this out of aggravation and to show Wagner Jr., I'll do this shit to you, pal, and then turns it into a dragon sleeper variation, sort of where he lets him go, but still keeps the double chin lock, gets back into the ring, and Kenoh delivers the double knees from the second rope and then continues to hit like penalty kicks, not running ones, but these standing penalty kicks into the face of Wagner. But Wagner, part of the story of this match here from both guys is that they can take such brutal punishment. I mentioned in other videos about Kenoh where he reminds me of Ole Anderson in one way, not at all, but in one small way, is that Ole used to say, I'll take 3 punches to deliver one. I'll let you hit me 3 times as long as I can get one in. That's what Kenoh reminds me of. It makes me think back to Ole Anderson often saying that in promos. And that's how it came across here. Kenoh was just brutally taking whatever Wagner had just so he could deliver his kicks. But here's the thing. Dr. Wagner wasn't phased all that much, and if he was, he hit it well, often standing up after power strikes from Kenoh, one of the best, if not the best striker in the business, and just getting in his face. Kenoh took him down again with a double chin lock, and really, Stu and Mark on commentary pointing out how much Kenoh was pulling on this. Of course, you're always going to pull on this when you put someone in a chin lock, but Kenoh was really, he really wanted to end the match with it. He really wanted to stop. He really wanted a submission. He wasn't just trying to wear Wagner down here. He was trying to pull his head off, and Wagner just fought to the ropes. Kenoh on the ropes again, delivers his doubled knees, and then on the apron, Wagner's on the apron, and Kenoh delivers PFS, a professional foot stomp, his double foot stomp from the top rope on to Dr. Wagner, who's on the apron, knocking him onto the floor, and they fight around on the floor outside. Kenoh gets the advantage after that move, of course, rolls him back in the ring, and Wagner comes diving out with a tope suicida. Kenoh never saw coming. He was sort of taunting the audience, heard Wagner coming, but by the time he turned around, he was there, knocking him into the barrier, practically knocking over the Japanese announce table there at ringside. Dr. Wagner then throws Kenoh back in and delivers a running knee to Kenoh's chin. This looked brutal. I don't want to say this started to turn the tide or whatever, but man, this running knee lift into the corner, oh, it looked really bad. Like it hit Kenoh, knocked his lights out. Kenoh does fall to the apron. Wagner backs up and delivers a running double knees into the corner to continue this and completes that set of moves with a sit-out power bomb. But Kenoh survives. That could be put on a t-shirt for Kenoh. Kenoh survives. That's what he does. That's what he's all about. He's a striker. He's brutal. He's a mean son of a bitch, but he survives. It's just common for him. But the difference in this match, when it comes to Kenoh matches, is that so does Dr. Wagner. Kenoh is up after that sit-out powerbomb, but eats a super kick and then a big flying double chop. But both men are up just minutes later staring at each other again. You know that both of them are feeling this. You know that both of them are about out of it, but they're doing everything they can to suck it up and get in each other's face. Kenoh then knocks Wagner down with more kicks to the chest and then celebrates again. If Kenoh has a weakness, it's his over-taunting, it's his overconfidence. That's why we love Kenoh, right? I mean, his arrogance, his confidence, but man, sometimes I think it really costs him, but Dr. Wagner's up and is met with more kicks, and then they get into one of those battles where I'll chop you, you kick me, back and forth. That stuff Jim Cornette hates so much, right? But it's part of Pure SO. It always has been. And to act like it hasn't or to act like it's new is ridiculous. Maybe the Americans don't do this right and it looks weak and they don't touch each other. But let me tell you what, these two are killing each other with kicks and chops. Kenoh responds with a brainbuster, but guess what? He gets a 2 count, but that's it. Wagner is eating everything Kenoh has, and Kenoh's one of the best in the world. So in this match, he's the GHC heavyweight champion, and he's bringing everything he has to Wagner Jr., including the next Snapdragon suplex. And after that Snapdragon suplex by Kenoh, both men are on the canvas for a short time. They are both exhausted. They are both showing the efforts of each other. Kenoh is up first, again, spreads his arms apart, does his Japanese war cry, if you will. You know it's time to get serious. He climbs to the top rope. Looks like he's going to go for the professional foot stomp. Wants to end this, but Dr. Wagner is up and crotches Kenoh on the top turnbuckle and delivers an avalanche brainbuster, a top rope brainbuster, suplex, if you will. But the Japanese call them brainbusters, but this was still brutal, whatever you call it. It was from the top rope, and he hits the Wagner driver after that. Most people in the crowd thought this was over, but it was not. He gets a 2 count. Kenoh's still on the mat. What does Wagner Jr. do? Climbs to the top rope and delivers a professional foot stomp, a PFS, Kenoh's finishing move of his own. Kenoh is hit with his own finishing maneuver. Boy, if that isn't bold, if that isn't Dr. Wagner saying, take this, bitch. But that doesn't get the 3 count. And Wagner's on the top rope and hits a moonsault. But again, Kenoh is out at 2. This is incredible. I know some of you listening, at least a few of you, are thinking, Adam, you don't like American wrestling because there's too many kickouts, there's too many false finishes. That's true. Because too many American wrestlers, there's a few that are exception here, just don't look like they could kick out of brutal moves like this. You get someone like Kenoh and Dr. Wagner, they look like it. They look like they can eat ridiculous moves and survive. They just look the part. They play the part. They aren't playing. That's the thing. They never look like they're playing in Noah. It always looks serious. It always looks badass. It always looks incredible, and this did. So they begin the battles of kicking and punching and chopping each other back and forth. Dr. Wagner's actually grasping the wrist of Kenoh like he's going to move him or try to do something with him, and Kenoh responds with a big kick, knocks Wagner to the ground, and Kenoh's on him with the Kenoh special. Yes, I've learned what he calls the crippler crossface, if you will, the Kenoh special. And he really, Kenoh wants to end this here. He's done playing around. He's done eating punishment to give punishment at this point. Now he wants to take Wagner Jr. out. He wants to retain his title here, but Wagner gets to the ropes. Kenoh climbs to the top and finally delivers from the top rope, middle of the ring, the PFS, the professional foot stomp, and Wagner's out at 2. This is where you begin to wonder, can Kenoh beat this guy? At least tonight, can he beat this guy? Nothing Kenoh has done has stopped Wagner Jr. And to be fair, nothing Wagner Jr. has done at this point to stop Kenoh, but we're used to that with Kenoh, right? We're used to Kenoh continually eating everybody's offense and coming back. Wagner Jr. has been the national champion, and he's a great, great wrestler. Please don't misunderstand. But this is pretty much an assumption that Kenoh was winning this. He only had the title for 3 months, like 99 days at this point. So really didn't see this as a loss. But when Wagner kicks out of the PFS in the middle of the ring, you begin to wonder. Wagner delivers a clothesline from hell, just knocks the shit out of Kenoh, and delivers the Wagner driver again. But he knows, no, I'm not going to try to pin this guy. Kicks out of everything. You can't keep him down. So instead of going to pin him after this Wagner driver, which was brutal, he goes to the top, bounces off each turnbuckle like the best moonsault ever, if you will. 1, 2, 3, moonsault. And that does it. That does it. He pins Kenoh with that move after a brutal fight, after ridiculous back and forth, after each of these guys surviving atrocities. We have a new GHC champion back in February, Dr. Wagner Jr. I remember I was on my excursion to the WWE at the time, or trying to find an American company that maybe was good, and I just got to give that up. And nobody's better than Noah. No one's even close. No one's even close. But Wagner Jr., back in February, what's that, 5-6 months ago, wins the GHC Championship. Like I said, I can remember hearing this when I wasn't watching. Kick me again for that. But, and I couldn't believe it. And I like Wagner Jr., national champion, great guy, great wrestler, but I never saw him winning the GHC title, and he does it especially against Kenoh after less than a 100-day reign. Wow. He's in the middle of the ring celebrating. This is a little thing I love about Noah, right? The referee's trying to get him to turn the belt around so the camera sees it. He's holding it sort of awkwardly. It's backwards. But he's selling the beating he took so much that's not his concern. He's not concerned about how he's holding the title. He gets it right eventually, stands up and holds it up, and that didn't look great, and I got some shots of it here. But not at first, because he was more concerned with putting over the beating he took from Kenoh. That sounds like such a little thing, but it's something that I notice and I absolutely adore and love about Noah. He finally does come to his senses and drapes that shoulder over his drapes his shoulder, did I say? Drapes the title over his shoulder. But no sooner does he recover and stand to his feet holding that GHC championship than he's interrupted by GLG. And man, I miss that faction. Good looking guys. They're interrupted, and out comes their leader, Jake Lee. He's going to challenge immediately for this. And he congratulates Wagner Jr., but he wants the next shot. I think Wagner agrees, just doesn't care. Finally, the GLG guys leave, and Wagner continues to celebrate with the title, goes back and stands with the title around his waist, and lifts it aloft in front of the Noah logo to end this match and this show. I haven't watched any other matches from the show. I'm sure they're great. I'm just trying to catch some of the better ones. I would give this match probably an 8.5 out of 10. I liked it. I loved it. But I don't think it was Kenoh's best match, and I don't think it was Dr. Wagner's best match. It was a very good match. I'm telling you, you should watch it, and I'm telling you, I liked it, loved it. But I think both of them probably could have done just a little bit better, and that sounds horrible with the beating they put on each other, but I just have this idea that this match could have been even better than it was, and it was very good. It could have been a 10. It was an 8.5 in my opinion, and that's not putting it down. But anyhow, that's my thought looking backward. This time I'll be back with another video. I haven't decided which one. If you got some recommendations, please give them to me. I'm talking anything from like basically February until August. Okay, February, March, April, May, June, July. Those 6 months. Give me the best matches of those 6 months, and I will check them out. They don't have to be title matches. They could be the best matches around. All right? Give me your opinion. Thanks for listening. I'm Adam Lavelle, WrestlingDoneRight.com. Please, please, please subscribe to this YouTube. It supports Noah more than it supports me. If I get in the YouTube algorithm, wrestling fans will see these videos and hopefully click on them and be like, what is this company about? And I can help, and these wrestlers more importantly, but I can help tell their stories and draw people into Wrestling Done Right, Pro Wrestling Noah. I'll see you again before you know it.